Hello and welcome to this little chat. Thank you to Cole for joining me for this and for giving us some time. Um, yeah, at this point, you've probably already seen some of the conversations we already had with Spencer and Royale. So let's get into it. Cole, thank you for giving some time.
Oh, you're welcome.
So off the bat, I want to now you've talked to me about it in the past, but I want to know what what was like your intro into TTRPGs? Like, were you a video game into TTRPG kind of avenue? Like, what was kind of the route you took to end up in them?
Sort of. So when I had played a little bit like with my uncle when I was like really little, but I didn't remember much of it. But then when I was, I think yes, I think I was a sophomore in high school, and I played Dragon Age Origins for the first time, and I couldn't get enough of that damn game. And then my uncle was like, "Hey, why don't you play D&D with me? You can kind of play." So I kind of just made my Grey Warden in
Yeah,
3.5 D&D because my uncle was that he refused to play 4E. He was like, I won't play 4E.
a lot of people
So,
seem to have done that.
I've never gotten to play fourth edition still, which I actually think I would like it because of how video gamey it is.
Yeah,
But
that's what I hear. What was your first character?
so my first character was a human paladin. I went the basic boy route, but you know what? It was fun. It was a good time. My uncle was a decent GM. We it was me, him. I was the only person under the age of 30 at the table. So the 16-year-old me, and then like I think five like 30-year-olds that worked with my uncle at the bar. And but since he lived pretty far away, I lived in Corpus Christi, Texas at the time, and so he lived like 5 hours away. So
Yeah.
it would be like I would go visit my mom for like a couple months in the summers, and every once a week during that time, my uncle would get the teach, and that continued until my senior year, or senior year, because then I went up and that was my first taste of GMing, like a little. I GM'd a mini campaign uh, in 3.5, and it was a lot of fun. And then I really started getting my stride with 5e like right before COVID, which
Mm,
really sucked. So
yeah.
I had a big table with a whole group. We were loving it, and then COVID.
Yeah, I know a lot of us experienced that. I got lucky enough that my table we ended up spending more time online than we had played in person, but boy, it did disrupt quite a lot of things. Well, I am curious, do you have any memories of like if you like just off the top of your head, is there like a cool moment that you had with that first character that maybe was like one of the times where you're like, "Oh, I'm in this. I'm in it now."
So it was like towards the end of that first character's campaign, which was like a 2.5 year campaign technically, and my person from my character's backstory had betrayed him and like left the organization he was in,
As one
and there was a
does.
mo and my uncle's GM like had him there, like I beat him in the duel or in the fight, and he was like, "Oh, is this the part where you try to convince me to come back to the wardens and we just become friends again?" And my character just grabbed him and stabbed his sword through his throat and said, "No, this is the part where I kill you." And that was I'm proud of 18-year-old Cole for that one.
Yeah. I love
15
that.
years ago. Ugh,
I love that like killing me makes you no better than me. No, it doesn't.
okay. Even if it does, okay.
So I know because you've been I know like D&D has been your main game. Um what other have there been like other TTRPGs that you've kind of like tested out? Because I know lately a couple of my friends collect TTRPGs, so I've gotten the chance to like dip my toes into a bunch of different systems. Have there been any that have caught your fancy?
Over the years, like I have GM'd a little bit of Pathfinder 2E, played some Pathfinder 1E, was not a fan. I like 2E a lot more. Call of Cthulhu is pretty fun. I like being a player in that. Um, I ended up getting my character rolling so well, and my character had so many points in fisticuffs that I actually won fights. Which the GM was like, "You're not supposed to win fights," and I was like, a punch and shit. But Call of Cthulhu was a really good one. I have one I want to play that I got as a birthday present. It's uh it's called Ragnarok, and the rock is with a CK, and it is a heavy metal TTRPG,
Ooh.
and it's set in like a heavy metal world. If anyone's played the video game Brutal Legend, kind of like that, like
Oh,
a
yeah.
heavy metal world, everything's
Yeah.
metal. I'm like, I really want to run a game in that setting. I just need to find people who want to. Um, the new Cosmere TTRPG I've been looking at too, because I'm a big Stormlight Archive fan, and I got the book. It's real pretty. And unfortunately, Remy hasn't. She's still halfway through the first book, and the cover of the book has a spoiler, and she saw it. But mostly
It
D&D
happens.
and D&D adjacent. Cyber. I played a little Cyberpunk recently,
Mm.
which is fun. It's my vibe.
I haven't had a chance to try out Cyberpunk yet, but it's definitely on my list.
It's pretty good.
So,
It's a fun one.
so level up A5E is like it's different enough from 5e that I think it really offers some interesting things. What have been kind of your first impressions of the system? Um, Especially like this is a brand new table, this is a brand new system and a brand new setting. How has it been kind of a getting to meet new people, playing in a new game, and trying out a new system?
So it's different, but it's also similar enough that it was easy to adjust to. And some of the changes I like with Berserker specifically, I like the rage giving the temp HP and other stuff, and can't wait for my banner. But
I'm
it's
working on it.
it's a fairly easy adjustment, but it's a fun system. Definitely something I want to get more into. I've been reading on some of the other classes and might even something I want to GM. One of my favorite aspects is definitely the GM gets to pick like what stat it is. Like even if it's intimidation, it's not assigned to charisma.
Yeah,
Like with Cal being a berserker, you go, hey Cal, give me a strength, which we've had that happen a couple times. Just like
yeah,
give me a strength intimidation roll, which fits the character more
yeah.
than doing a charisma intimidation roll when you're a big dumb himbo.
There's definitely been a lot of. I feel like customization from a GM and a player standpoint is such a huge thing because there's so many like character creation. There's so many different options. There's like 30 ancestries you can pick from and like 60 backgrounds. It's an insane amount of content that they've put out, and I haven't really encountered any that's been really crazy. So I've as a GM, I've definitely been enjoying the kind of spice it's been offering up because 5e I think after playing it for like 10 years now it definitely is feels a little stale for me, and so this is a nice
Yeah.
kind of little reinvigoration of that.
Yeah, it's definitely like put a little pep in the stuff. It's like because if you've been playing 5e for long enough, it's like okay, I need to try something else, which sometimes can be hard because that's all anyone wants to play, it
Yeah,
seems like. So it's one of those things where it's just kind of hard to find players willing to break away from the binds of fifth edition, or I guess 5.5 now.
yeah, which is also funny because like 5e is not an easy system to learn, and there's so many like and there's so I feel like because it's a lot of people's first experience, people think that that is the baseline of how easy a TTRPG is to learn when like 5e is like kind of in the middle. Like there's a lot easier games to learn and there's a lot harder games to learn as well. And I feel like A5e kind of is like a half step up from 5e as far as complexity just because there is so much additional content.
Yeah, it's a fun vibe.
How are you finding the how are you finding the setting? I know you run a lot of campaigns in your own world of Rivera. As someone who does a lot of homebrew settings, not to not to put too much pressure on you, talking to the guy who's writing the setting. What have your thoughts been so far?
I enjoy it. It's been very self-contained so far, which I think is good for a first campaign. Like you're just in the setting, like it's like the world is there, but like, and we have the map and everything, but we have only really been to Hollyhead and now Kelmethleer, which is like, and we've had our travel in between and
Yep.
stuff, but it's like we've gotten two examples of this world, and like now that we're in the big city, it's fleshing out a lot more. Like we have the new order of knights that's basically fucking Space Marines, like
Basically.
which vibe, which I funny enough was just playing Space Marine 2 before this, but it's I've been enjoying the world building and seeing it flesh out and seeing it kind of flesh out through the player characters a little bit. Mostly at this point through Cal and Neander the most. But we're getting, I know as we continue the campaign, we'll get to see things from like Agnew's backstory where it's going to filter into the world building. Same thing with Vela, same thing with Rain. But it's just mostly been like place Neander is familiar with, place Cal is familiar with.
Yeah.
And I do kind of like that because then it lets them people be in their element and kind of go from there. So you've been doing a good job with the world building.
Thanks. I can
It's a fun world.
I
I
can
like the gods.
definitely dude, we that was a fun thing. I'd never really done collaborative world building quite like that. And so it was really fun to sit down for session 0 and we landed on that four god system. And I really like how everyone is engaging with it. And Spencer and I had a really great conversation about like the organized religion in the world not being too analogous to real world religion and a lot of the baggage and problems that come with that. And so that's been kind of fun, especially as Cal, as of the recording of this, I believe uh, we just recorded session 11. Uh,
Mhm.
as of the story, we're starting to realize that Cal has some connections to the divine, and that's been a very fun way for me to kind of flesh out different aspects of the religion in the world, because it's not just like the religion is the system that worships the gods, but the gods have a lot of their own stuff going on. And
And
so
that kind of stuff can help you like figure out who your gods are as opposed to like just like a name on a paper.
yeah.
Like you get involved in a character story and how that character's story progresses can I kind of did something similar with you with first time you ever played for me with Cullen.
Yeah.
Who
Go check out the Cullen episodes and all the other episodes, of course. um
kind of
this,
interesting, very different characters, but similar vibe to an extent.
yeah, somewhat. But speaking of Cal, if you could go ahead, just give us a little rundown on Cal. Obviously, we don't want to give away too many secrets and spoilers, but just give us tell us a little bit about Cal, who he is, and what he's got going on.
Yeah, so Cal is a just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. He grew up in the small town of Hollyhead, big, like very, very large, despite the fact that both his parents are like normal sized humans. And his brother even was like only a little bit bigger than them, and his sister's tall, but like he was born the only Asmar in his family. He never knew why. He didn't even really know what it meant until, the event. But he values a lot of things. He values his friends, his family. He's very protective over anyone that he views as part of his tribe. Let's say, like
Yeah.
if you're one of his people, he's gonna try to protect you. Um, he's very much a bisexual himbo.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
he's
As we've already begun to see.
yeah. Because at the beginning of it, he had like a sweetheart back home, but they weren't anything serious.
Yeah.
Little elven girl, and but things have changed. I'm not gonna spoil too much. I'm not
Things
gonna say
are
much.
changing.
Things are changing. Things be changing. But he grapples a lot with the fact that he's very good at killing, and he doesn't like it.
Mm.
But now he kind of knows why, and that could make things better or worse.
Yeah, no, I mean, even Cal's first reaction to learning about this divine blessing, it was like, oh, so am I just a weapon? And the first reaction was someone being like, you can be anything. So it's been a very fun thing for Cal to kind of bring up that aspect of the conflict that someone can have when adventuring, because you are doing a lot of killing. And I feel like that's a topic that doesn't often get explored. Uh, and so it's been very fun, and in a fun way challenging, because the NPCs in the world can only be as wise, insightful, and philosophical as I am. So it's been fun to like read things and kind of try and expand my own horizon so that I can give Cal different insights and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, with making Cal, were there any? Now I can think of one or two specific inspirations, but as you were kind of coming up with this character concept, because I know in the creation process you were bouncing back and forth between what class you were going to pick, and you didn't even really pick until we got through that first session and kind of
Yeah.
saw where his journey was possibly going to take him. Were there any like specific sources of inspiration, be it like media or concepts or anything like that, that you were pulling from with coming up with our boy?
A few. As far as his like attitude of like being the big guy, so I've got to save people. I'm stronger than most people around me, so I can use that to help people. Very much Clark Kent, Superman kind of thing. But also a little bit of for his little personality, cracking jokes. Alistair from Dragon Age Origins is a big
Mm.
like inspiration. He's very jokey, jokester. Um, that's one of my favorite lines of dialogue in any video game ever about cheese. Which um, and a little bit in just like the mental conflict, Thorfinn from Vinland Saga a little bit, which is something I was kind of reading at the time. But
Yeah.
mostly he's just kind of like there's inspirations here and there, but I've also just been kind of like letting him become whoever he is
Yeah.
through like the story. Kind of like had a starting point of like, okay, here's characters I kind of want him to be like. But as we progressed, he not really like any of those characters as much as I thought he was going to end up being.
Yeah.
He's become very, I don't want to say unique because this has been done before, but he's very like his own guy. He's got his own
Yeah.
personality.
Ooh, on that note, have there been any moments or like events that have like surprised you, either like with Cal, with something about him that surprised you in these first like dozen or so sessions that we've done?
So honestly, that first combat encounter when we were level 0, and honestly, this is where you get to do the dice tell a story because literally just my rolls made Cal a one-man killing machine in that
Yeah.
fight. I did not expect that. I thought we were going to either lose that fight or barely win because we had the help of everybody. I didn't expect Cal to just cleave through everybody.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, this guy's been a guard, but I don't think he's ever killed a person. So that kind of definitely like shifted how I was gonna play him. Like I had like this idea of like he would get like a talk from his captain and he'd like eventually come to terms with like, okay, I gotta kill people. It's something I have to do sometimes. But just to have it happen instantaneously
Yeah.
kind of shifted the entire trajectory of what I had planned for his character. And also as they've been traveling, like his bonds specifically with Neander and Rain have grown a lot more than I expected. And they're definitely rubbing up on him a little bit on like not beating himself up too much.
Yeah.
But there's been a couple moments that have really made me go, I'm gonna have to adjust.
How kind of on that note, because I know you, me, and Bex had played before, and I know you played with Bex a bunch as well. But as far as I know, I don't think you'd played with Abigail, Royale, or Spencer. So how has that been, kind of finding these dynamics with like a mostly new group of people, and watching those character and also just player dynamics progress?
I think it's been great. It's a good group you got together. So that was the one thing like with a new group, you never know if like everyone's gonna vibe well and stuff like that. Like you had obviously you knew Bex and I were gonna play well together, but like that was kind of the only like assurance. But everyone's been great, and like I feel like our role play styles really bounce off each other really well. Um, and then Agnew just being mysterious in the
Yeah.
back, and then until he decides to not be mysterious and just tell us everything, which was
Yeah.
kind of fun. I was like, okay, that's a fun twist on that kind of character. But it's been great, and I'm excited to continue the campaign and play more with everybody.
Well, are do you have any like specific goals for Cal? Uh, is there like any like thing specific you're hoping to see him achieve, or somewhere you're hoping that, or a direction you're hoping the story takes him?
Two things really I'm thinking right now. One is definitely he's got to deal with these dead brother issues. So
Yeah.
I think there's something in his mind that he wants to find out for sure what happened to his brother, like because obviously his brother's body was never recovered. That's part of the backstory, and we've mentioned it a couple times in the campaign, so it's not really a spoiler. But
Yeah.
that's one thing I would like to see is like him be able to figure that out. But also, I kind of like this new little journey he's got in front of him of going to the like going on this little pilgrimage to where the other spirits of war have their temples or like their shrines. And I'm like, I kind of like that idea. Kind of gives me Knights of the Nine vibes from Oblivion, like go to all the
Yeah.
different shrines. And I'm like, well, I kind of want to see where that goes too. Well, not kind of. I definitely want to see where that goes. Mostly, I want to see how the story progresses and how Cal's character arc will weave into that. That's what I'm curious about.
Hell yeah. Now, as someone who like has his own expansive world building, how do you think Cal would fare in the world of Rivera? How do you see this guy fitting into the fabric of that?
It depends what part he lives in. He would thrive in the northern nation of Deerbeard. People probably think he confuse him for a Coalsar half the time, like just a short Coalsar. But I think he would have definitely stepped into the warrior shoes a lot faster, just because that continent has a lot more like continent spanning wars that happen regularly because there's so many nations vying for power that it's like
Yeah.
I feel like his humble life would have gotten interrupted just the same, but maybe even earlier, and he'd probably holding his own. But like I said, depends on where he lives. If he lives in the Camorra Empire, he'd probably just be a farmer living out in his fields because he
Yeah.
wouldn't know anything that's happening because it's such a big nation. But I think he'd do. I think he'd be fine either way, unless he ran into certain people we both know of, and then he'd be screwed.
I know that I feel like Riviera and Alavar as a whole in your world is almost defined by its conflicts, either like with the various kingdoms or with the gods themselves. Do you think Cal is the type of person who would like learn about these conflicts and feel like he has to get involved, or that he would have to stay where he is to defend his people from those conflicts?
I feel like for the smaller scale, like, oh, it's only involving this one country kind of thing, like, for example, the stuff that happened with Uthros and Rivera and stuff like that, he'd kind of like, be like, I know I need to stay home. But for like the stuff that's happening, like Gleaming Wildfire, he would absolutely be signing up for some kind of military to protect his family and try to protect his loved ones because that's such a huge scale. I don't think he would be able to sit home. He
Mm,
would even if it resolved, he would probably hate himself forever for not helping.
yeah.
That's just who he is. He wants to keep people safe, protect people, and he can help any way he can.
And his sister Millie would have to watch another brother go off to join the army.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I actually think Cal would probably be a big fan of the Sarathir Wardens, and he would try to join them if he could. He'd be like, I wanna ride a griffin. Like just the idea of him riding, he'd be like, I want a griffin.
He does love
Uh,
griffins. It has been established.
I got a question for you. How do you think him and Ramses would get along?
I think I think they'd get along. I think Ramses would definitely want to help Cal understand his conflict about killing and taking life because Ramses is himself a soldier, and I think he would definitely want to like help Cal understand the emotional complexities of that because I imagine obviously this hasn't really come up as much in Gleaming Wildfire with where our characters are at, but like I imagine Ramses had his own time in like his first battle where he took his first life, and probably his commanders helped him work through that, and I think he has probably at this point gained a lot of insight that he would want to share with Cal because I think he'd be able to recognize that conflict within him.
Yeah, Ramses is certainly more experienced and a lot more powerful, so he'd be like a good. I think he'd be a good mentor figure for Cal, but like they both got some shit to work through.
uh, But yeah, I mean, other than what we've talked about, is there anything about the campaign so far, or like the party, anything like that that's been that's been like on your mind that you've been thinking about lately that's got you excited?
I just very much like how you've been doing like the random encounters, but also the set piece encounters. How you can take like rolling in a book and finding, oh, a young rock, and you turn that from, instead of just a straight easy there's a rock, you turn it into this entire set piece of like, okay, we got to figure out what we're gonna do. We got to do this, got to do that. Cal's falling. Um, that's that's something I very much enjoyed about this campaign, and also the way all the players have like had different ideas and go with things, and how you can almost guarantee certain characters are gonna have certain ideas. Like Cal is gonna immediately be like, "Who do I need to keep safe?" And
Yeah.
Neander's just gonna start blasting, and Rain is gonna be Rain and Vela are gonna be the cautious ones. Like, maybe we don't fight, but with Cal and Neander on the team, that's almost never an option. We
Well,
talk about Cal being gung ho with like swinging his axe, but Neander's pretty Eldritch Blast
he
happy.
is. He is. Well, we'll have to see how else it shapes up. But I'm looking forward to seeing where Cal's story takes him in the fabric of this campaign. I think I'm cooking up some stuff that you're gonna really enjoy and may or may not devastate you.
Yeah, it's just fun little behind the scenes thing is Jake messaged me about something I had said for flavor about Cal and was like, "What's the deal with that?" And I was like, "Do with it as you see fit." And he sent the Mr. Burns. Excellent.
I'd been, yeah, I will. I mean, I'll straight up talk about it. During oh, I forget exactly. I think it was when I was going back and like when one of the episodes came out and you had mentioned like the runes that came up on Cal's arms. I think it was at some point in the Tower Ruins. And I'd been coming up with the idea of the spirit of war
Mhm.
as kind of the explanation for his divine heritage. And I was like, oh, I wonder if Cole has anything planned for those runes. And when you said you didn't, I was like, perfect. A perfect little tie-in that you have unwittingly walked into.
I'm fine with it. The amount of times I've done stuff like that to you, or
Yep.
even worse.
Yep. I'll get you back. Don't worry. Uh, but
That's what.
thank you for joining us for this little chat. Be sure to tune in for the next episode of Emergence, where we see where Cal's story goes, and make sure you keep an eye out for when the next chat comes out. Thank you much.